Okay. See if I'm on air. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to give you Harley owners some advice, my personal opinion based on my knowledges about this new Torrington bearing. I keep hearing about, the cam needle bearing for the single cam Evolution engine, or the twin cam for the twin cam engine. The needle bearing that goes into the right engine case for your camshaft, okay, on these engines, the Torrington needle cam bearing. My opinion is that it's going to cause disaster. That's my personal opinion. Okay, I'm age 67, I'm retired. I'm a metals engineer. I work for Hydrill, subsea company. And I'm also a computer machinist, manual lathe machinist. I have a long background, because my work career went way back into the mid-70s, which to me that's not a long time ago, but it is for most people today. Because most Harley owners, the average, 95% of them are younger than I am. And they don't have the knowledge as I have, and they fall for the gizmos and the aftermarket BS. And I see so many things you guys are allowing to be done wrong to your Harley Evos and Twin Cam engines. So many things you're allowing to be done wrong. And you're even using the wrong kind of oils in these machines. But about motor oils and motor oil detergents and, the specific weight for your area, click on my channel and watch my video, motor oil detergent and motor oil weight, and what that really means, contrary to what marketers are telling you people about. But the Torrington cam bearing, okay, I know as a machinist, and I understand the four-stroke engine, the oil has to enter moving parts and then exit the same moving parts for new oil to come in, okay? This is a fact. The Torrington cam bearing, it has more needles, sure, and this is supposed to make it the supreme new going thing. Negative. The bearings are all those needles are all touching one another inside that bearing race. The cage you can call it, that holds the needles. They're all touching each other. How is oil going to get between those needles? And each needle is rubbing against the needle next to it, left and right, as it turns, which is going to produce wear. And then how is oil going to get to the inner part of the race if it can't get through the needles because they're all touching each other? You see, people? You got to think. See, when people come out with things like that, they're not thinking about engineering or what is longevity or proper, and then they lack education with how a four-stroke gasoline engine actually operates in the functions of the said engine. And a person can be an engine builder and not even have these knowledge. But the OEM cam needle bearings that came with your shovel head line, your Evolutions, and your twin cams, the OEM, the stock ones. Okay, they have an inner cage, okay, and then they have the roller needle bearings. Alright, what that does, it separates the needles so oil can go around them to the inner part of the race and each needle. They're going to wear less, and they're going to be more durable. You see what I mean? So, people, guys, quit falling for all the gizmos and the aftermarket nonsense. Quit falling for it. Quit buying into this stuff. You know, one man wanted to argue with me. I actually had to block this particular person because he would argue with me in comments. A man became deceased. A 1980s, late 80s, I think a 86 model, Heritage Softail Evolution. He bought it, you know, at an estate sale. It only had 15,000 miles. He got it running again. It had sat for like 10 years. Said it ran great. But he would not shut up. He kept saying, I've got to take my cam out and change my cam bearing. And I'm like, why? You know, and he kept talking about this torque and bearing. And I told him, I said, look, I'm not into aftermarket. I'm into stock engines only. I can build an engine or repair an engine, but I'm into stock engines only. He wouldn't shut up about it, and he wanted to argue with me about it. And he tells me in a comment, you need to get with the times. You know, you're stuck in the past. No, because I considered it. I checked things out for myself. And the way the Torrington bearing is made, all these needles are touching each other. That's not going to work. You've got to understand the function of a four-stroke engine, how that it operates. You know, like the oil has to get through the bearings or any moving parts on the inside of that engine. It has to. If that is blocked in any way, or it is restricted, or partially restricted, it's going to malfunction. It's as simple as that. Stick with the OEM parts, people. Stick with the OEM parts. And again, about hydraulic lifters. In many automotive engines, the information you're getting, it is not true. There are men on the internet. I've watched some of their videos. One is a great engine builder. He's rebuilt shovel engines, panhead engines, knucklehead engines, you know, your Evos, your Twin Cams, and man, he is good at it. And, but, one thing, each time, you know, he gets an Evo or a Twin Cam with the roller hydraulic lifters, he does something that is terribly wrong. He turns them in 20 flats with the adjustable push rods. And I'm like, oh my gosh, here we go with this ignorance again. You know, people that don't know what they're doing. On a hydraulic lifter, people, they're to be adjusted at 0 lash and then turned in only 1/4 of a turn. And I am living proof of this. Like, I checked these things on my Harleys. When I bought my 97 Harley Fat Boy, back in, let's see, it was the year 2000 when everybody was running around wearing a mask on their face. This was April 9th, year 2020, a 97. I checked these things on my Harley. Okay, someone had put an adjustable push rods on that engine. And I checked that, and they were turned in way, way, way too far. Because I noticed when I tested it, right after I bought it, there wasn't enough oil coming out of the rocker box on the front cylinder. On those engines, Evo or Twin Cam, all you have to do is take the keeper, the lock off of the push rod tube, and push the top part down. crank the engine, that ought to spray oil all over the place. And then you just kill it with it. Because, see, that's the hydraulic coming from the hydraulic lifter that is the furthest away from the oil pump source. So if it's getting plenty of oil, so is the rear cylinder. So you can only know that. And you also know your tappet screen is clear, or that couldn't have even happened. All right, I noticed not enough oil was coming out. And I checked the tappet screen, I cleaned it, reinstalled the nut that goes in there. All right, and then from there, I pushed the push rod tubes up, and I started backing off these adjustable push rods, backing them off, until, you know, with the cam on its flats, I would position each cam on its flat until I could just wiggle it a little bit up and down. Then I turned it in until I couldn't wiggle it up and down, and then I turned it in 2 flats. 2 flats. Which would equate to a little over a quarter of a turn. 2 flats, that's it. After the push rod ends were touching, like the rocker, you know, and touching the cup and the top of the hydraulic lifter. And then I turned it in 2 flats. And I did all 4 of them that way. All 4 of them. Now, if I would have had any play in my guides, I would have replaced my lifter guides. But I didn't. There was no play in the guides, so therefore, I adjusted these lifters as I would a brand new hydraulic lifter. People, that is, let's see, how many years ago were we talking about? 3 years... April, May, 3 years and 2 months, approximately. And I have had that bike out. I drove it 290 miles, about 2 months ago, all the way to Fort Worth. I live in Houston. 290 miles back. Didn't use any oil. There's no rocker tap. No tap in it. The bike runs great. And 2 days ago, I rode it on a one-way, was 95 miles, and then 95 miles back, carrying a 180-pound woman on the back, coming from Lufkin, Texas, back to Houston. Didn't use any oil, and I can take a stethoscope, and I can listen to those rockers when that engine's running, or I can even rev it. And there is no tapping. No tapping. It runs perfect. See, you guys are adjusting these adjustable push rods wrong, because here's something most of you don't know that are doing that. If you take the factory solid push rods that an Evo came with and a Twin Cam came, what you will discover, you measure that, or you have the cam on its flats, like when you're installing the lower part of your rocker box, the central part of your rocker box on an Evo, and pay attention to how much pressure is going down on that. Or you can measure the push rod itself and then adjust the adjustable lifter to be equal to that. What it's going to come out to from the factory, when it came with the original non-adjustable push rods on that Evo or Twin Cam, you're going to find out that it was only turned in 2 flats. And that's it. That is it, people. So you're doing this wrong. And it's the same thing on an automobile engine. You know, I forgot the man's name, but I'm going to look it up. Here's how you might find him. He's an engine builder. It's rare and unusual things. He rebuilt what was a 52 Studebaker that had a Packard overhead valve, 352 cubic inch engine in it. Okay, those had solid lifters. So those, he said at 20,000. But then another engine he rebuilt after that, it was a 440 Chrysler V8 stock engine. When he adjusted the rockers on the top of those heads, he only, till they were touching the lifter, he didn't have the intake manifold on it yet. He only turned it a quarter ton. Man, I applauded this man. I'll have to admit it. I said, you're one of the few people that know the right way to do this. This man is very good, but you might could find him. He's heavy set. He's an older man. 1952 Studebaker Packard engine restoration. You might be able to watch this in his other videos, and you'll find out, you know, see, he has some knowledges like I do, you know, about these things. What else do I want to cover right now? What else do I want to cover? Oh, that blurry video that happened yesterday. Well, I made a part 2, you know. I got it to come in clear. It was actually a remake of the first video. Oh boy, but oh Lord, what else? Let's see, the Torrington bearing. Oh, about engine oil weights to use. Here's something I should have mentioned in my engine motor oil, detergents, and engine weights. I should have mentioned. The best thing you can do, go look on Bing or Google Images and look at what would be like, let's see, what did they call those auto manuals that came with the car when it was brand new? Hell, you know, because I'm not talking about a repair manual, but it was the manual, new car manual that came with the car that was in the glove box. Those had a cardboard page that you unfolded in them that showed, based on the climate where you're at, what weight oil to use. There is your answer right there. There's your answer as to what weight oil to use. But remember, your Harley Davidson is an air-cooled engine, you know, and so it might need to be heavier if you sit and idle more. As long as you're moving, it should be about the same. But that's the way to get your oil weight, because see, based on oil weights today, it's like one weight is right for all temperatures all over the United States. And that cannot be true, because those oil weights for your vehicles you're driving today and operating, like this 5W20 and 10W30, what you're doing, people, those are 10W30, for example, is for like the Great Lakes area in New York City weather pattern. 5W20 is for New York City or the Great Lakes, or like Detroit, Michigan, or Ohio, you know, type temperatures in the winter time. So this is what people need to get in their head, you know. I mean, it depends on the climate where you're living, because even those cars that were made in Detroit back in the 60s, the oil weight chart, it's like if you live somewhere where it's 90 damn degrees, use 40 weight, you know. It had that. But then it also listed, you know, like Celsius, below 0, above 0, what weight to use, you know. And that's what you're supposed to be going by. But anyway, this is my advice to you people. Quit using this aftermarket bullshit. All you're doing is you're messing up these machines. I don't buy from any of these aftermarketers. Any part I put on my Harleys is the original Harley Davidson part. And I don't have all these trouble all these other people are having, constantly having to take these engines apart, okay? Well, anyway, whoever you are, have a great day, have a great night, and remember, Jesus Christ is your Savior and is the only way. And do other people right, and so shall you be rewarded for doing others right. But anyway, have a good day, people.